another episode of the Rad Life. If you haven't noticed, it's election season. And I have said this before, and I will remind everybody, if you're running for election in 2020, whether you are local to my area of South Orange County or regionally, Orange County as a whole, or even LA, San Diego, even national, actually, if you happen to be an Arab American out there, I'd love to have you on the show. If you are involved in a particular project or advocating for something, running for any position, whether it's city council, congressional, water district, please, please, please reach out to me and let me know if you're interested in being on the Rad Life. I'm giving candidates about an hour of time because I feel like, especially in 2020, although it happens normally, candidates don't really get a chance to be heard by the voters. You don't get to know them. It seems like our involvement, our connection with the candidates has become mostly social media, Snapchat, meme kind of things, or, if we have a debate, it's very short snippets of time that we give them. We don't really get to know the people. And those who know me know that I am a non-party preference registered voter, and I always believe that I vote for the person and the subject, the issue. I don't do party voting. That doesn't mean that I don't agree with certain policies on both sides, actually, when it comes to certain things, but I don't vote along the party line. And in 2020, I think it's incredibly important that we have the opportunity as voters to really get to know the candidates that we are considering for elected positions, regardless what it is. Like I said, municipal, federal, or even regional. So with that being said, I would like to welcome today to the show, to the Rad Life, a lady who is running for city council in a neighboring city of Laguna, Niguel. Shani Moslehi is running for the 2020 election cycle for city council. I'm going to bring her in right now, and we're going to find out a little bit more about Shani and why she decided to run for city council. This is a very accomplished lady in her own right, and she has now decided to throw her hat in the ring for city council in Laguna, Niguel. So let me see if I can get her from the waiting room here. We're having a little bit of a sluggish connection today. Here she is. Shani, are you there?
Yes.
There she is. Hi, how are you? Good morning.
Good, thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. I, in my introduction, mentioned, and I talked to you about this before a little bit, is that it seems every year the time and opportunity that we have, the opportunities that we have as voters to get to know candidates that we are being asked to consider for elected seats, whether it's regional, municipal, or even federal, seems to get shorter and shorter, and seems to start becoming more of a snippet of social media or a one-liner or what have you. And I kind of think we missed out on getting to know the person. And I vote for the person. I vote on the issues. I don't vote along party lines. So I wanted to give you this opportunity to get people to know you. I know you're running for city council in Laguna, Niguel. So why don't you tell people about your background? I know you're accomplished in your own right. So let's tell people all about Shani.
Sure. Thank you for the opportunity. This is wonderful. You're right. It's really hard to go door to door. It's really hard to host an event. We don't do any of that anymore. So our only chance is to either do mailers, phone banking, texting, and now this is a great opportunity. So I appreciate that.
It is my pleasure.
My name is Shani Moslehi, and I am an immigrant. I was born in Iran and left to go to a boarding school in Switzerland, then continued here to California, where I graduated from high school and moved on to college and got my degrees in social sciences and business. I met my husband 35 years ago. It was a good catch, so I married him and moved to Orange County. That's where my life in Orange County started 35 years ago. We moved to Laguna, Niguel 18 years ago, and we've raised both our children here. I have always been a very involved citizen and an involved parent. So I was on the board of directors with PTA, PTSA. I ran the high school foundation for a few years at Dana Hills High School. And I also sat at as a board member for high school football. A brave woman I am.
Wow. Yeah, I'm impressed.
I know. I still don't know anything about football, but I knew how to raise money and how to help the team. So that counted. I started my career in banking, and 10 years after that, I decided to stay home and have children. And at that point, staying home was a great option, but I was kind of bored. So I started a home daycare, which was exemplary at the time. I then decided this is a great opportunity to raise my children and go to school with them. So I went back to school and got my California teaching credentials. I started teaching as a substitute teacher for Capistrano Unified School District. So that gave me the opportunity to meet a lot of students, a lot of teachers, and a lot of parents, and get even more involved with the community.
Sure, that is a huge school district. That was one of the largest in the country. Yeah.
Yes, and I actually worked for the Capistrano Unified School District before moving to Laguna, Niguel, which gave me a great opportunity again to get to know more about the city that I was moving into with my children. I'm a very involved citizen. So I, in the past, I have hosted free health expos in Orange County with, in collaboration with Alzheimer's Orange County and Cal Optima. I have also done a few blood drives to save a life of a child. I'm involved with various children's charities. Back in the day, after I got my teaching credentials and I was ready to go and be a full-time teacher, my husband bought a business. And that's when my life turned and I became a business owner. I had to quickly learn how to manage budget, market the business, as well as manage 600 events a year. And that's when you talk about large scale, that's when I learned how to manage large scale anything. And that business, was basically where I learned that the need that we have for small business protection and a small business backup and planning and all that wasn't really available at the time. So in 2015, with a few other ladies in Laguna Niguel, we started a chamber of commerce just for that, just to give, provide information, educate new business owners, and give them the resources that they need.
I'm sorry, Shani, is this the Orange County Iranian American Chamber of Commerce?
Yes, we established the Orange County.
Yeah, I'm going to
Go ahead.
I'm going to put up the logo and the website for people who are interested. I found that very fascinating as an immigrant myself, and I think you and I actually have probably some parallel paths. Especially, I'm very interested now, and I'll talk to you off camera later about your Switzerland experience, because I just posted a video yesterday that came out, that was a promo video for a school that's no longer around that I went to, that was from 1988. And yeah, I think we have a lot of parallels paths, but the reason I was very intrigued by this is I actually am a chairman of the Arab American Civic Council that is in Anaheim, right? And I find it very intriguing, and I love having the opportunity, and this is like a happy accident here, is to highlight the contributions of immigrants, because I think a lot of times we are very infused into the fabric of America, and we are very engaged on levels that most people don't realize. And we're giving in our own ways, in our own talents, in our own ways to further and improve things. This is a perfect example. So tell me about, and whenever a few ladies get together to come up with something, most people, if they're smart, they should be paying attention. So what happened with this?
Well, honestly, it was the opposite. Most of the people that we approached wanted to know who was on our board of directors. Basically, they were looking for gentlemen that were running the show. So in order to prove them, prove that we can do this, we really had to work hard and be consistent with our programming. We have, ever since we established ourselves in 2015, we have continuously provided a platform for businesses to meet and to network. We offer educational workshops and seminars. A couple years ago, we started a business award program, which was very well received, where we want to give an incentive to a small business so they can do better. whether it's economically, customer service, whatever. So that
Especially,
list is available and they can opt to.
especially in times like this where you need that encouragement as a business owner. I mean, gosh, I mean, I can't even, I mean, I can imagine, I am a business owner myself. I can imagine people that are struggling right now with everything that's been going on for the last 6 months, and where that support system and that encouragement to just stick it out, to maybe look at things in a different way, to identify opportunities, not just only challenges. That's when you need that tribe, that support. And good for you for doing that. And I noticed that it's not just Orange County, you also have the LA one. So how many members do you have combined in these Chamber of Commerce?
So we just started the Los Angeles chapter in January, and we were doing really well until the pandemic happened. And within 2 weeks after the shutdown, we decided this can't be, we need to support our businesses. So we went back online and started our Zoom weekly meetings. Mm-hmm. So we've actually done better, because before we were just doing monthly meetings. Now we were doing weekly meetings. We were doing newsletter. We were promoting all our members. So the results are actually better than before, believe it or not. We currently have 250 members, and we are a membership organization. We are a non-political, non-religious, and non-profit organization. Yeah. So, you know, our goal is to really, truly give back to the community and help them grow. So, you know, at this time, we waived our membership fees to make sure that our members stay, you know, economically healthy, and just be a support for them to truly give back to the community.
Yeah, it's very supportive. I mean, I think this is a time of really giving and helping each other. We're all in this kind of together. It almost sounds like a cliche, but it's very true. Tell me, and I was kind of smiling, because this is exactly what I mean when I say not only challenges but opportunities. If you look through at what's going on with COVID right now, situations like this, where it would be so much harder almost to corral 50 people into a room for an event. Now, because of the fact that people are maybe more sequestered, they're more eager to have more of a connection and a social component, and because of the ease of the technology out there, we are, if we put our hats on in a different way, we are able to actually have the success that you're talking about, have more people engaged, grow things, be more in contact more frequently, and without the overhead that usually was involved. You needed to get a place. I mean, you're in the event business. You needed to get a place, you needed to get the caterer, you needed to get arranged for the valet parking, whatever it was. Now, this is it.
Yes, and I think we should continue with this as part of that whole networking idea that we had before. Agreed. So we would love to go back into a restaurant and meet, but I think we should continue with all the online meetings that is available.
It's just another layer. I mean, we just now have added one more quiver in our, in our arrows. Is that it's not one more arrow in our quiver, but it's really interesting when we talk about pivoting, and it's not like it's something that's happening over, and I think this also applies for people that are running for office. This isn't a weekend disruption. This is a genuine paradigm shift in how we basically interact and live. And you can see those who have a growth mindset in it and those who have a bunker mentality. And it's fascinating to watch the human condition in that capacity. So you sound like you're really busy. So why would you want to go and run for city council?
Well, I'm actually not busy. My own business is event marketing, and that kind of shut down at the beginning of the year. So, I'm actually having a lot of free time. But I'm just that kind of a person anyways. Even if I was busy, I wanted to do the right thing. I wanted to really be engaged with the city. I noticed that Laguna Niguel, really honestly, for the last 10 years, I haven't seen improvements. I've seen a lot of things that have been damaging to our city. For example, there's high rises on Cabot Road that everybody has complained about. And I found out that this whole approval to build those apartments was actually done 10 years ago with the city council at that time. So I realized that the decisions that we make now will affect the next generation, and I want to protect them. I want to participate. I want to have a voice. Being a city council member is a non-partisan, non-paid position here in Laguna Niguel. So what I really wanted to do is to have a representation of people like myself. I'm very climate conscious, and I feel like Laguna Niguel is behind. We just built a brand new community center, and there is absolutely no solar panels on there. They're not using any, green technology. There's no charging stations for electrical cars, and we're in, this is 2020. So I really want to see our city to come up to 21st century. I also noticed that the older neighborhoods in Laguna Niguel are not being preserved, are not being taken care of. So again, I want to have a voice for people that live in those neighborhoods and make sure that they're being taken care of.
Yeah.
Good neighbors and good neighborhoods are essential in every city, and we need to start now before it gets to be a problem later on.
Well, and I think you raise a couple of really good points, because you and I have been in South County a while. It has changed. It used to be that South County was very much, and it's not only limited to South County. You can argue like Anaheim Hills, North OC, Orange, certain areas were really considered bedroom communities. They were really just residential. You got off the freeway and you went home, and then you got back on the freeway in the morning, and it's sort of what you did on the weekends, and that was it. Well, for a number of things, whether it's cost of living, whether it's affordable housing, whether it's increase in commuter traffic, whatever it is, these bedroom communities are now not just bedroom communities. And it almost seems to me like there's such an attempt to hold on the nostalgia of what these communities are, that there's a resistance to basically step up to what the reality is and then guide that leadership. And so a lot of things that happen are either remnants from the past that are now coming to fruition, or there's an avoidance because I don't want to rock the boat. I got a lot of people that are older members of the community, but we also have I think Laguna Niguel is the same. We have an aging community. We have people that are older that are staying in their homes longer. We have people that are older, therefore they're not buying as much retail. So our economic engines are changing, and it really is a time for leadership on these issues, because I firmly believe that there are opportunities for us to have a sustainable future on our own terms, where we don't sacrifice the quality of life that we have. To your point, like the high density, we need affordable housing. We need alternatives to housing. When I say affordable, you're saying affordable housing in South County, right? I mean, the numbers associated with that are nowhere close to, somewhere in the Midwest. I mean, the numbers are still astronomical, right, in terms of value. But we need to basically guide that ship in that direction. And so new blood is needed. I mean, it's just the nature of the thing. So with that being said, I've asked this to other candidates that are running, and I'm going to ask it to you. I don't know if this already exists in Laguna Niguel or not. How do you feel about term limits?
Term limits are here in Laguna Niguel, 4 years. And then we can run. So basically a candidate can run twice, 4 years each time. Then they can take a break for 2 years and then run again. I do, however, think there should be some limitations on, one family running, basically. So if I'm running now and I'm done in 8 years, my husband can now run, and I kind of feel like that shouldn't happen. I'm against that, because I think we're still putting all the power in front,
that starts to introduce an issue of nepotism. That starts to introduce an issue of really kind of almost defeating the purpose of having term limits, to be honest. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So I'm sure, with Laguna Niguel, you've got, we have issues regionally, issues of the homeless, for example, which in my opinion, I don't know if you agree with me, but I think we need a regional solution for that. What do you think about the homeless situation?
I agree. I don't think Laguna Niguel is equipped to have like a year-round program or wraparound program for homeless. Because they're not equipped, I think the county needs to step in. And I think we should have a nice program set where if you're going to have shelters, then we should have social and psychological services available as well. So this whole homelessness is not something that we can solve overnight, but we definitely need to be very empathetic and considering and, you know, try to help, you know, understand the situation better and not just think of property values or I don't want them in my neighborhood attitude.
Well,
So I hope for protection.
we're not really tackling the problem. We're kicking the can down the road, and we're hoping that somebody else basically finds a solution, whether it's family assisted ministries or some church efforts or whatever. We're really not engaging in the solution, working out a solution. And I agree with you. I mean, I think these communities need to support a solution that, like it or not, will have to manifest itself in some sort of physical environment, right? Housing, support services. We also have a situation right now where we have a lot of real estate that is commercial real estate, whether it's office commercial or retail commercial, that because of whatever market forces, you know, everybody buying online on Amazon, the fact that people are going to basically have half their workforce working from Zoom and remotely, we have real estate that's already built. It could be adaptively reused, but it requires leadership at the level of permitting, city council being that level, a planning commission, another one, where we start approaching people and take leadership in repurposing some of this assets that we already have. So instead of basically having to approve a project in the middle of a residential area, which is going to get a lot of pushback, maybe looking at some of these resources that we already have that are now not really serving the purpose they were originally made for, and rethinking them might be a way to solve some of these problems that we have, at least temporarily, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah. What are some of the other things, you know, educate me as a person who lives in a neighboring city. What are some of the things that, that Laguna Niguel is dealing with that maybe have been longstanding issues or whatever? You mentioned a few of them, like some of these older neighborhoods that are kind of needing to be upkept and maybe some of those services are not happening. What are some of the issues that are specific to Laguna Niguel you guys are facing?
Sure. Laguna Niguel is actually a very wealthy city. We are not suffering much because of the pandemic because we are not a tourist city. We know our income comes from our property taxes, and we have two
Yeah.
Costco's and one Walmart, and they generate a lot of sales tax because our neighboring cities don't have them. So
Right.
they come and shop in Laguna Niguel. So
Right.
that is a very beneficial thing for the city. The strange part is that every time I talk to a citizen or a resident here, they're all concerned about our budget and how we're going to manage our budget. I think we're doing very well. This city is not lacking money. We have funds. I think we just need to maybe redirect some of the funds to pay attention to areas that are of my concern. You know, I want to incentivize the small businesses and I want to bring in new businesses to grow here in Laguna Niguel. And everybody thinks that's going to be money out of their pocket and it's going to hurt our budget, but not really. You know, the city has a brand new app. The city has a brand new website. If people are familiar with technology, we can use all that to offer small businesses opportunities to advertise, again, give them an incentive to do better and promote them as much as we can. You know, honestly, the main concern right now, there are two concerns. One is our new town center, and there's a debate going on with that. And then we have this, the federal building on Alicia Parkway,
Right.
the Zurgert building, that it's
Right.
also a debate. And a decision has to be made because it's been sitting there for too long. And it's kind of an eyesore right now because it's getting old. The parking lot is all, you know, messed up. The asphalt is all lifted and all that. So those are the two main concerns that the residents have, which will be addressed, I'm sure, in the, you know, during the next 4 years. And my take on that would be to listen to everybody, to try to see what is it that the city wants to do and what is it that the people really want to do, and make the wise decision. I think, again, there's a cost to doing a business, and we just have to make sure that we're doing the right thing for the city. And moving forward, I'm hoping to have a voice for the people that think like me and live where I live, and, you know, we can all work together.
Do you think that I mean, I think regionally this applies, but do you think that where we're at today in 2020, there are certain things that have shifted and I mentioned it a minute ago about, like, for example, an aging population. We have people that are staying in their homes longer. They're living in neighborhoods that they've been in, let's say, for 20 years plus. They don't have any intention of leaving. They're healthier than their parents used to be, so they're able to get around a little bit better. But at some point, they're going to need to have an alternative form of transportation that is dependable and not just, public bus. Um, and they may be even multi-generational households. I mean, it's very common ethnically for you and for me, but it's not an uncommon situation these days, especially with, shrinking of family asset resources, people needing to take care of people. It's not cheap. There's that happening, but at the same time, parallel to that is we're also losing young people that were born and raised in these communities because they can't afford to stay. So do you feel that, both as a parent, both as a business owner, both as somebody that is involved in your community, do you feel that the city council and leadership in the community, elected leadership in these communities, has a responsibility to basically start thinking about these new realities and not just applying the same things that we've been doing 20 years? Because without doing that, in my opinion, you don't develop new economic engines. You do not promote incubation of business. You do not provide alternative forms of transportation for people like my father, who maybe at 80, basically 83, could not drive anymore because they lost their driving license. But they're not wanting to just stay at home and wait for the bus to take them to the hospital, to the doctor. What about the other stuff? How do you feel about that?
Well, back to the Zogert building and how I would like to see what happens to it. It's a huge, I think it's like, it's a huge lot, and it can be turned into affordable apartments where I'm particularly thinking of elderly. So funny that you said that, because I was thinking my mom would love to have her own place where she doesn't have to travel in a car, because Zogert is right in the center of our town and is right next to a huge shopping center. And,
Yeah,
we can have a trolley
for people
come
who are
and go
not
and take
familiar
these people
with,
back and forth.
for people who are not familiar with what Shani is referring to, there's a ziggurat-shaped building, ziggurat being a step pyramid, that is off Alicia Parkway, and
Alicia Parkway.
Alicia Parkway, and it is a federal building. It's been around for a very long time. It's a very interesting, from my professional perspective, it's a very interesting architectural building, very unique in this area. But it takes up a very large footprint, and those kind of mass plots, if you will, are not common anymore in built-out communities. So we actually have even a more acute responsibility to appropriately use them with that future in mind.
Yes, and there are a lot of people in the city that want to preserve the building because it's a historical building. And I have nothing against that. I think we can, if we have the money to preserve it, we can preserve it. That would be great, and repurpose it.
Yeah, you can repurpose it, exactly.
But I'm told that it's very costly to repair the building because it's was built in the 1970s. So there's a lot of asbestos, and a lot of the cost of preserving it is very high. But regardless, they should do something. Even if whether they touch the building or not, there's a huge lot that can be repurposed. We can have apartment buildings. We can have few nice restaurants and shops there. There's plenty of room for all that and Zogert at the same time.
Yeah, Shani, it's not an unusual thing. This is not our first rodeo, if you will, of this nature of challenge. We had a similar situation with dirigible hangars at up north in Tustin, right? I mean, they decided one of them was going to get torn down and another one will be restored and repurposed, right? We in San Clemente, we have over 200 properties that are historical from 1920s. So I think if the motivation is to find a solution, you will always come with some sort of compromise solution that will be acceptable to most people. I think that the shame is when you basically just don't even explore that opportunity.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. I think when we talk about affordable housing, the initial reaction is, not in my backyard. No, no, no. It's going to drop down property values. And I think, okay, you're assuming that everybody who's going to come in and live in these affordable housing is some sort of degenerate, drug addict, what have you. But in course of taking that attitude, you're also dismissing seniors. You're dismissing young adults that are starting their life, and it could be a vibrant situation where it's not isolating both parties. Both of those could be basically housed in a nearby area, right? I mean, I don't know about you, but as I get older, the last thing I want to do is look out my window and see people only my age. I'd like to see a range of people and life, right? So I think it's interesting that a lot of the communities in South County are coming of age this way, and some of these challenges are occurring in different places, right? The town center is a big one. I know about you guys with the town center, and keeps going back and forth. It's a large development. Usually, sometimes that happens. What are your hopes? Okay, looking at being on city council, what are your hopes from not only dealing with the challenges, but what are some of the things that you would hope to basically champion or spearhead?
Well, again, post-COVID, hopefully by next year, we really want to focus on small businesses. In order to campaign, I thought, okay, I'll go store to store and let them know that I'm running for city council, introduce myself, and leave some cards. It was very sad. Every shopping center I approached, maybe there was only 2 or 3 businesses that I could actually physically walk in. Most doctors' offices, dentists, they're all closed to public. Even vets. I mean, it was so funny how limited I was in order to go meet someone, even from a distance. So I really want to focus on helping the small businesses come back and do well. Offering community choice energy to Laguna Niguel citizens, it's another goal of mine. I think people should be offered affordable and option as far as energy is concerned. We are very limited right now, and it's very expensive, and it's not really good for the environment. I go back to being a climate conscious citizen. I think offering, solar panels, why can't we have that? The city had the water company, Molten Niguel Water Company, offered incentives a few years ago to all the citizens to remove their lawns and plant,
Xeriscapes or Native American Californian, yeah.
Exactly. What a great idea! It worked. Many people converted, and it saved the water. Landscapes look nicer. They don't have that dried up lawn that looks ugly, right. And it worked. So. And the incentive amount wasn't much, and it didn't really hurt. And at the end, it really saved water. So we can do the same thing. If we can organize and come up with an initiative to offer solar energy to homes, we should. So that's another goal of mine. And again, preserving the older neighborhoods.
So and what are some of the challenges with the older neighborhoods? You mentioned that. I mean, I'm familiar, like in Fullerton, for example, some of the older neighborhoods, there's this issue with the old piping system, stuff of that nature. What is it that the issues for, because South County tends to be a little bit newer than places like Fullerton. So what are some of the challenges? I'm not familiar. What are the challenges with that?
Just the basic maintenance in the older neighborhoods, the sidewalks, the ocean drains need, new grills put outside so they can prevent things from falling in. Overgrown vegetation, again, a lot of rental properties in the older neighborhoods, and many aging families, so things are not being looked at carefully. So perhaps the city can have some sort of a monitoring system where they can drive by, and if there is an overgrown tree, or if a tree looks pretty dangerous, then maybe there should be a citation issued to the homeowner, or do something about it. I don't think just giving citations to someone that can't take care of the problem is going to solve the problem. I think they should take another step and have a discussion with the homeowner. I know Lake Forest does that. where they offer the homeowners either a grant or a low financing so they can take care of the issues that they have with the house, bad roof. Um, all of these could be a lot of preventive maintenance and stuff that the city should really get involved. Um, and there are neighborhoods in Laguna Niguel, believe it or not. Laguna Niguel is famous for having gated communities and state homes, but there are neighborhoods that there are no HOAs and nobody is really looking after these homes. So
the city needs to basically step up that aspect.
exactly.
Got it. You mentioned about assisting small businesses, but you also mentioned earlier about attracting new businesses, right? So again, that's an interesting topic for me because it immediately begs me to ask the following question. What kind of businesses do you think would be the kind that should be attracted to neighborhoods or communities like Laguna Niguel that are in premise, bedroom communities at one point, right? And we have a commercial, but commercial tends to be, whether it's, like in Dana Point or San Juan Capistrano, car dealerships, or, you got a Costco, you got a Walmart, I'm curious as to what you think would be in 2020 a type of businesses that we as community leaders, elected officials should attract to our communities.
Good question. The city actually did a survey a few years ago, and it's on their website where they've asked the citizens what is it that they want to see in the city of Laguna Niguel. And many, many, many people have asked for more restaurants. We don't have enough eateries here. Our population has grown, but our services haven't. So I want to see more more sit-down, nice restaurants in Laguna Niguel. Right now we don't have that many, and we travel outside of our city to go dine in a nice place. So I want to see more sit-down restaurants and service-based businesses. Shoe repair, more dry cleaners, just basic stuff that we need at perhaps every shopping center within Laguna Niguel.
So that's interesting because again, I could tell you, you want restaurants? I will send you some from San Clemente. I mean, it's like we trip over restaurants, and there's more restaurants open all the time. But yeah, it's interesting because just up the street, you guys are faced with this different scenario. I've asked that question before as well, and some people have said, well, we may need to look at some innovative, like to your point, high tech or innovative light industrial that could be housed in our commercial zones, but that is not, a massive infrastructure thing. And it also provides better than, minimum wage jobs for those people that are starting their careers, that are maybe born and raised in Laguna Niguel, that want to basically approach something, start down a path for an industry or a sector that's growing versus dying. So I think, again, speaking to kind of thinking outside the box, where we're at today as communities, elected officials, I would hope, actually are willing to go there because it requires that new thinking in order to achieve a sustainable model, both economically, culturally, pride of place, whatever you want to call it. It's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be interesting to see whether we rise to that challenge. We're not new.
We were really having a diverse city council is really important. Having people with different focus is really important. I am an educator and I really want to think about the children. I was devastated for parents during this. I am still devastated for them during this COVID time because the kids have no interaction. So, they're lacking a lot of stuff right now. So once all this is lifted, I want to see more places for kids. I mean, we have great parks in Laguna Niguel, but maybe more indoor facilities to serve the children. I don't know, art classes, gyms for little kids. There's so much we can do. We just need to switch our focus to families first when it comes to planning.
So you mentioned the word diversity. I'm going to ask you really lightly because it's interesting. You and I come from a diverse background. We've lived in different places on the globe. We make South County our home, and there is a lot of diversity in South County. There's probably a lot more diversity than a lot of people realize in these communities because of quality of life, you know, and a lot of the people that are in these communities that come from maybe international or global backgrounds, first generation, second generation immigrants, you know, there's a lot of high level of education, business ownership, what have you, right? Um, I personally find it to be a very nice fabric to these communities that we have this diversity, right? But it also brings with it, I think, a certain nuance, especially when it comes, for example, for senior care, right? That we need to be sensitive to the fact that we have diverse communities and that not we cannot deal with everybody in our communities with the same approach. Do you find that that is something that is currently in place at City Council in Laguna Niguel, or that's something that needs to be brought into play?
We definitely don't have the diversity needed. And by diversity, I'm not just talking about me from Iran. I'm talking about me from a working class, middle class business owner that actually drives in Laguna Niguel to go around doing, doing my business. So that's what I mean by, that's the kind of diversity I want to see. I think our city council members are all from the same mindset, and we need to change that. We need to bring in people with different thinking, different ideas, and not just constantly have anonymous votes on everything.
Oh wow, I didn't realize that's
Yeah, we need to have a little bit of challenge when it comes to our city council. We just have, nobody has ever challenged our city council. We haven't really seen a change. It's been the same. Basically, one leaves and brings another one just like him to take the seat. So it's going to be a tough race. It's been a tough race, and it's going to be up to this, to the residents to realize that we really need to have a voice for everybody at a city council.
How has the response been for you during this campaign? I mean, you mentioned it was tough. We talked about how it's very unusual. You can't really go out there and shake people's hands and meet them at the farmers market, etc. How has it been?
Well, I've been aggressively campaigning. I have, distributed more than 15,000 postcards door to door with my volunteers. We've done major texting. We're doing phone banking. Mailers, the amount of mailers that we are sending out is enormous, and hopefully people will actually pick it up and look at it. We don't know. So it's going to be an interesting year. There's a lot of unknowns right now, but we have done everything that it's suggested, and hopefully it'll pay off.
Well, I'll tell you something. I think I wish you all the luck in November, but I have a feeling that regardless what the outcome is in November, you're not going anywhere. I think you will probably continue to plug away and find different ways to be of service to your community. So
thank you.
No, absolutely, and I thank you, because it is thankless. I mean, I don't think we give people enough credit, whether you agree with them or you don't agree with them. But for people to stand up and actually put themselves into this gauntlet, to try to be of service. I mean, you're not getting paid for this position. It's hours of your time. It's not something you're going to just show up at the city council meetings and make decisions. You got to do homework. You got background. You got to coordinate with different commissions. It is work, and to be willing to work for other people in your community is a honorable pursuit. And I thank you for your service even in advance. I know you're not going anywhere. So.
Well, it's so funny you said that, because I was just telling my husband today, as I'm phone banking, I'm getting a lot of positive feedback from people that have already voted for me. And I said, you know what, win or lose, I will be attending as many city council meetings as I can, because I really want my voice to be heard. So they're better off to just elect me.
Yeah, just elect Shani, because otherwise she's going to be there anyway.
They're going to hear me anyways.
So whether it's your 3 minutes at the podium or sitting in city council, there's no stopping you.
Yes, I honestly think we need more people engaged. I think we need more people to speak up and, not just complain. Don't wait till things happen and then complain. Don't wait till they build the high rises and then go complain. Get involved now. If you can make it to city council meetings, if you can read more about them, and make an educated voting. Make sure that you know the candidate you're voting for. Yes, in Laguna Niguel, we have 3 seats open, but if you don't know the candidates, don't vote for them, please, because you're just taking away our chances of taking that seat. So educate yourself.
And you're not districted, right, Shani?
No, we're not.
Right. So that's the other thing too. That's even more, I think, more important is that, although you could argue even if you're districted as well, is that you really should know who it is that you're basically putting in that seat, because there are things that come up. There's things that come up sometimes that you don't anticipate, and you need to have somebody there that is willing, especially this year. If there's anything that's been highlighted, is unity versus divisiveness, working across, with people, finding compromises, willing to basically put, like you said, people first, communities first, is super critical. And I think from what I'm seeing is that there is a level of engagement in 2020, whether you agree with the direction of the engagement or not, but there's a level of engagement in 2020 that actually I have not seen in a very long time. And I think it's driven by a lot of emotion, a lot of feelings, a lot of whatever. But I'd rather have people that disagree with me but are actually engaged in the process than people that are not engaged.
Absolutely.
I will always say that. And San Clemente sometimes drives me nuts. And people in San Clemente is not going to be surprised to hear me say that. Sometimes it drives me nuts because we are so engaged. It's like a dysfunctional family. Everybody's in everybody's business. However, I would have it no other way, because the alternative of not being engaged right now, especially during an election process, that is almost irresponsible citizenship. So
Yes, and I hope everyone in Laguna Niguel really looks at their choices and decides based on the knowledge. Check out our websites, know who you're voting for. Don't just go, vote whoever because you have a nice city and everything is going well as far as you can see. Look at the issues that candidates are bringing up and vote based on their plans.
Yeah, I mean, who would have known that in January that people were going to be distance learning, that restaurants were going to be at half capacity, that you were going to have to make decisions about patio seating versus non-patio seating, that you were going to need to figure out whether you should, you should allow or not allow alcohol sales on delivery. I mean, all these decisions that had to be made, nobody anticipated them in January. And nobody was spared. I mean, whether you're a bedroom community or whether you're a commercial center, whether you're Irvine or you're Laguna Niguel, whether you are, it doesn't matter. You needed to have in place the kind of leadership that would actually take that responsibility seriously and have solutions, not just basically sit around and go, I don't know, I put my head in the sand, maybe eventually this will go away. 6 months later, here we are. So
yeah. Another good thing that came out of the pandemic was the parking lot seating. I'm actually enjoying that. Maybe if we can continue and make it nicer. It was very European the other night when we visited an Italian restaurant in Laguna Niguel. We were literally in the parking lot right in front of the restaurant.
Isn't it fascinating? Isn't it fascinating that took almost a blink of an eye to be approved? Yet the same thing that we approved for years upon years upon years on multiple city councils. I'm not going to pick on any one particular city in advance, okay? Getting 2 additional seats for patio or to basically incorporate some sort of outside seating was such a drawn out, arduous process that was literally set up to basically cause somebody enough frustration that they would give up trying to get it done. And when we got hit with a pandemic, you want outside seating? Sure. Here you go. You got outside seating.
It looks nice. It's wonderful. And one of the issues that we have in Laguna Niguel is we have too much parking. So I hope that moving forward, we can use some of those parking spaces and give these restaurants the opportunity to give us, better seating outdoors with the weather we have.
It's good for business.
Yeah, it really was a fabulous experience, I have to say. I from far, I thought parking lot, but once I was there, surrounded with lights and, a canopy above my head and.
Yeah, and they've got temporary fencing and, they got some plants and pots. I mean, it's happening all around. And I agree with you. I hope that continues because it adds a flavor. I mean, we say European, but like that al fresco dining component now. And it's nice. It really is nice. I mean, we are blessed by climate that is, very most people are envious of us that we're having the climate that we have. Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's a perfect example. So with that being said, I really appreciate you taking the time. I know you're a busy lady. I'm not going to try to, I don't want to keep you any longer. I wish you luck, my friend. I really do. And I want you back on, and I'm going to make a prediction. I'm going to want you back on once you win.
Thank you so much. I will be back when I win. Thank you.
And if you don't, come back on anyway. We'll talk about what some issues are going on.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Likewise, Shani. Thank you very much. You have a wonderful day. And everybody, thank you again for joining us for another candidate spotlight on the Rad Life. We will be back with some more later on this week. Thanks, Shani. Good luck. Bye-bye.